Welcome everyone. The SP technical sections for well integrity and P&A are pleased to present this webinar titled Norwegian Ocean Industry Authority's Keynotes from the Technical Seminar on P&A in May 2025. My name is Pierre-Edouard Vincent and I will be your facilitator. Today's event has been scheduled for roughly 60 minutes but will not have a hard stop. We encourage you to ask questions throughout. For this, simply create comments from the platform you're using, either LinkedIn or YouTube. Before we start, I would like to announce a few of the upcoming events related to P&A and well integrity in our region. First and foremost, one of the major events on the European scene when it comes to well integrity. This is the SP workshop in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, the 11th and 12th of November of this year, co-chaired by Michel Monteau with Aker BP and Kenny McAllister with SealTight. I'll put the links in the comments. It just happens that this will be immediately followed, though there are no connections between the two events, by one of the first conferences on offshore methane emissions in the North Sea, which is the Methane Emissions in the North Sea Symposium in Utrecht, very close, jointly organized by TNO, SODM, and NJORS. That should be a great event for InfoShare. So we're passing along the info. Again, I'll put the link in the comments. Then later in October, we would also like to mention the Offshore Norge 14th Norwegian Plug and Abandonment Seminar, titled P&A with No Country Borders. The future of P&A technology development should be borderless and united. Again, this should be a great event, and I'll introduce Jovan to the stage also, and I'll mention that Jovan and the section we're working hard to offer a series of webinars in Q3, Q4. The next one will be presented by Felicia Thirstian about casing expansion to find solutions, remediate sustained annulus pressure. So this is just a teaser. I'll put that in the comments again. It's now my pleasure to hand over to my co-host and fellow WITS officer, Jovan. Over to you.
Thank you, Pierre. I'm pleased now to introduce our speaker, Nina Ringen. She holds a Master of Science in the Offshore Technology and Executive MBA, both from University of Stavanger. Nina has 27 years of industry experience with the global operators, where she was involved with the full well life cycle for exploration, production, drilling, well integrity, well intervention, and finally plug and abandon wells. Nina is currently chief engineer in the drilling and wells technology in HAVTIL, Norway. This is Norwegian Ocean Industry Authority, which she joined since February 2017. And she's also leading HAVTIL for permanent and temporary plugging and abandoned wells activities and qualification plans for operators and service providers. She's also lead engineer for future and ongoing CCS project on NCS in drilling and wells, including legacy wells, assessment, and well integrity for CO2 injection wells. I would say a remarkable career achievement, Nina. Happy to have you here today. And I would like to ask you to share your keynotes and takeaways from the technical seminars that Plug and Abandon have been made this year. Thank you, thanks.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Jovan. So today I'm honored on behalf of the Norwegian Ocean Industry Authority, or HAVTIL, to present some of the keynotes or our kind of reflections from our technical seminar with respect to plugging and abandonment in May 2025. The theme of our technical seminar in 2025 this year was innovation, collaboration, and use of new technology. And the reason why we selected this theme is that we can see that qualification and development of new technology is taking time, and we want to support and emphasize that innovative idea solutions and collaboration amongst operators and perhaps also service companies will be important to succeed. So here you can see a short snap from the seminar, also from our auditorium that is called Valhall. The technical seminar was arranged for the second time in HAVTIL's location, and it was fully booked. And as mentioned again, we see a need to focus on qualification of new technology for P&A operations going forward, since we have more than 2,250 active wells or wells that will have to be permanent plugged and abandoned in the coming decades on the Norwegian continental shelf. And then we kind of understand that plugging and abandonment will play a pivotal part of the oil and gas activities on the NCS in the coming years. Norwegian operators have reported that they plan to plug and abandon approximately 300 wells in the next 5 to 7 years. And we believe that these wells or campaigns and plugging and abandonment activities will help to share collective learnings and give us experience-based knowledge that will boost the chances of success with respect to the upcoming activity level within permanent plugging and abandonment. And we also believe that sharing collective learnings and knowledge will increase the chances for succeeding with respect to qualification of new technology. So you can follow us on our webpage, www.havtil.no, and there is also a link to an article from our technical seminar at the bottom of this slide. Again, the reason for why we focus on plugging as a permanent plugging and abandonment and temporary plugging and abandonment, or suspension as they call it in the UK, is that we see an upcoming workload with respect to permanent plugging and abandonment from 2025, also today, until 2050, 2070. The Norwegian Offshore Directorate, they report that several fields on the Norwegian continental shelf will have a decline in production rate from 2030 and onwards. Several fields are kind of in the late life phase and will be shut down when kind of the last wells have produced the oil and gas that are available. And again, as mentioned, we have more than 2,000 wells that will have to be plugged, also permanent plugged and abandoned, from now on and until 2050, 2070. We also hear that from Wild Well Control, that they see an increase in well control incidents or well incidents related to re-entry of temporary plugged and abandoned wells, or re-entry of suspended wells, as they call it in the UK, and even also relief well drilling with respect to permanent plugged and abandoned wells. And we do not want to end up in a situation where we have to re-enter permanent plugged and abandoned wells. So we believe that it's important to pay attention to robust solutions also in the first phase, and that we share as much knowledge and learnings as we can as we are moving forward. Again, the question is, also, are we prepared for this upcoming wave of permanent plugging and abandonment? When it comes to our technical seminar, as you might see here on this slide, the theme was innovation, collaboration, and use of new technology. Again, we believe that only by kind of sharing knowledge, sharing learnings, also collaborate, will the industry be able to succeed. Development, testing, and use of new technology is also crucial to maintain and improve the HSE level on the NCS, in addition to kind of obtain more cost-efficient solutions. And when it comes to continuous improvement, that is one of the key principles in the Norwegian HSE regulations. So we have expectations to improvements with respect to the use of new technology, both within P&A, but also within other areas. Again, as an industry, I think most of us that have been around for some years, we know that sharing of learnings, sharing of knowledge kind of across operators, across borders and globally, it's kind of been a slow process when it comes to more like competition between operators. Within the area of P&A, we believe that there is kind of an opportunity to share more, also share learnings, and the industry will most likely boost the chances for success, both with respect to qualification of new technology, but also with respect to kind of increasing and maintaining a high safety level. So that was the kind of introduction we had with respect to the team for the technical seminar. And again, just kind of giving a brief snapshot of the number of wells we have on the Norwegian continental shelf. Every year we do this data gathering with respect to the number of active wells. And as you can see here, these wells are listed with respect to well integrity categorization. And as you can see here, most of the wells are either injection wells, production wells, but then we also have a kind of large amount of temporary plugged wells with monitoring and temporary plugged and abandoned wells without monitoring. And in HAVTIL, we believe that these wells, so the temporary plugged and abandoned wells or suspended wells, they kind of offer an opportunity with respect to piloting and testing of new technology for permanent plugging and abandonment, and also for monitoring when it comes to suspended or temporary plugged and abandoned wells. This is just a repetition with respect to the outlook from the operators or from offshore Norway for the next 5 to 7 years. As you most likely remember, I mentioned that they have said that they will permanent plug and abandon close to 300 wells in the next 5 to 7 years. Most of these wells are platform wells, but they've also said that they will P&A 63 subsea wells. So these wells gives us some great opportunities to collect learnings, share those learnings, so we can talk about collective learning and experience transfer across operators and also across borders. So from 2030 and onwards, there will still, according to this last prognosis from offshore Norway, there will still be more than 2,000 wells to plug and abandon on the NCS. And I guess some of us will probably not be around for the next 50 years. And that's why I've kind of said we need to meet and onboard generation Z. They will probably be in charge from kind of the next couple of decades. And according to what we've seen so far, permanent plugging and abandonment of a well could, on average, take approximately 35 days. In best cases, we've seen down to 5 days, also even shorter for some areas or fields where there are kind of hydrostatic pressure and no zones of inflow in the overburden. But according to current prognosis, so this kind of activity with respect to the upcoming wave of P&A operations, also for the next 50 years, there will most likely be also a mix of production activities, drilling and P&A at the same time. So the question I ask then is, do we actually have enough people? Are we ready to onboard generation Z? Do we have enough attention on experience transfer and competence building? Do we have the right rigs and the best available technology? So I think that's a good question to reflect upon in the different companies. Again, from HAVTIL, or the Norwegian Ocean Industry Authority's perspective, a high safety level is perishable, and that also reminds us that we need to work hard to maintain a good HSE statistic, but we also need to stay humble, because also safety is perishable. It's dependent upon kind of daily operations and how risk is interpreted in each company or in each well. As mentioned, globally, the Well Control have reported to us in HAVTIL that they see an increase in well control incidents and well incidents with respect to P&A operations, and that means that they see, for example, that re-entry of temporary abandoned wells where there are no pressure monitoring between the barriers, it could be bridge plugs, could give challenges. In Norway, we had one recordable well control incident in 2024, and that was with respect to re-entry of a temporary abandoned well or suspended subsea wells without pressure monitoring. And again, if you then have pressure below this shallow set bridge plug, high pressure, regaining well control and normalizing the well could, in some instances, only be obtained by bullheading. And I think in this case, it took 3 to 4 days by bullheading and circulating to normalize the situation. Otherwise, we see examples of release of trapped gas when cutting casing. We see the same when pulling casing hangers and seal assembly. But again, we think there are it's important to pay attention to re-entry of these temporary abandoned subsea wells or temporary suspended subsea wells where there are no pressure monitoring below the installed barriers. When it comes to safety, we would also like to remind you that the root causes for these well incidents with respect to P&A is not always related to technical issues. It could also be operational procedures, change in plans like a lack of MOC, and it could also be that the risk was not identified and that the operation was considered a routine operation. So again, it's important to evaluate risk in each specific well and each specific field. And I guess when it comes to P&A, there will always be surprises, and many wells have had a sustained casing pressure, and I think that's what's making P&A both interesting, but most likely also challenging going forward. Moving back to the number of temporary abandoned wells, so that's also including inactive wells. And as mentioned on the UK sector, they call these wells suspended wells. We did a survey back in 2024, and approximately 22% of our active well stock was kind of classified as a temporary plugged or abandoned well. And that means that these wells will have to be re-entered, either for kind of intervention, recompletion, or permanent plugging and abandonment. And we believe that these wells represent an opportunity for offshore testing and piloting for new technology. And I would also like to kind of reference Lewis Harper from the Net Zero Technology Center in Aberdeen. He participated in our technical seminar in May. And he also referred to the importance of technology piloting and testing, either onshore or offshore. In Norway, we do not have onshore wells. But again, he said that technology funding is actually meaningless without offshore piloting and testing for the NCS and the UK sector. So we need to get together to provide opportunities for the new technology. And again, collaboration is probably the key to move forward and to succeed in this area. When it comes to this survey we did back in 2024, as you might see here, a company named 360 Energy, they made a report for us of the well integrity status of these temporary plugged and abandoned wells. This report is available on our webpage, HAVTIL.no. And as you can see, of these wells, most of them are green or yellow with respect to well integrity status. But we had 30 orange and 3 red wells at that time. Speaking of the red wells, they all belong to one field, and I think most of them have been re-entered and reclassified or secured. So we also had a kind of close to equal amount of inactive wells. An inactive well is an inactive production or injection well where there are still a donor safety valve and a Christmas tree. And a temporary plugged well is a well where you have, for example, other barriers like a bridge plug or a cement plug in addition to a combination of well barriers. But again, all these wells will have to be re-entered or either also secured or get in reuse then for production or injection or permanent plugged. To kind of sum up, I just want to mention again that in HAVTIL we have a regulatory requirement when it comes to qualification of new technology, and that is the Facility Regulation Section 9, qualification of new technology and new solutions or new well barrier materials. And I think the most important thing here is to mention that we expect each company to have their own technology readiness level process, and that they document each step with respect to that process. We also state kind of in the blue circle that criteria shall be drawn up for the development, testing and use. So it's easy if we are coming on an audit that we can go in and look into the TRL ladder and see that every step is documented. Again, we would like to mention that offshore testing and piloting in the kind of right and environment with respect to the kind of qualification process is crucial when it comes to qualification of new technology. In 2025, we in HAVTIL, we're also doing a knowledge sharing with respect to creeping shale or creeping formation. And our goal is to publish a report this autumn. The reason for why we are doing this is that we can see that creeping shale or creeping formation might be an important part of plug and abandonment activities going forward. And we want to share the knowledge and best practice from the operators here in Norway with the global P&A community. Some of the operators here in Norway have been using creeping shale also for the last 15 to 20 years, so there's a lot of experience out there. But still, we believe that there could be some inputs to the ongoing revision of Nordic DO10, the acceptance criteria table 52. And from our point of view, it's important to emphasize that when you're kind of qualifying creeping shale or creeping formation for a new field or a new geological layer, you have to follow a TRL process, and you need to establish a track record and a qualification matrix to prove that this shale is kind of behaving in the same manner in every well if you're kind of skipping the pressure testing. So that was actually the last slide. Then last but not least, I would just like to mention that for us in HAVTIL, collaboration with other authorities, also across the North Sea region, but also globally, is important when it comes to plugging and abandonment, collaboration and innovation, and also with industry partners like SPE, Net Zero Technology Center, Offshore Norway, SVIPA, NORSE, and OTM. So that was everything from me. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Nina, for sharing. I hope that if anybody has a comments, please put in the comment box, and we will put on the and ask Nina for that. But before we start reading our comments, I have a question for Nina. Nina, you said that collaboration is a key for implementing those new technologies. How the operators having a willingness to test such a things, that we know that if they choose traditional methods versus new technologies, did they have any benefits using and testing those offshore, knowing that how much cost 1 day of operation if they trying something which is new, and how this may be supported by authorities of Norway? And I just want to know how this works in reality.
Yeah, I know you're kind of asking on a general basis in Norway. I guess it's a very good question, because we've asked the operator kind of the same question, and so the feedback we get is that okay, if you are on a platform, kind of a brownfield platform, it's easy access to wells, so there are more support from management to spend half a day or a day to test out some new technology and some new methods. If you are on a subsea field, you have a kind of a floater. What we hear then is that management is much more reluctant to test out new technology. But again, I think also what the Net Zero Technology Center in Aberdeen is saying is that also we need to collaborate then probably to select some wells where it's easy to have access, so the cost is not covered by one operator. So I think sharing is a good way forward. But again, yeah, I understand it's a challenging topic, as you are mentioning.
Just another way around, did we have examples that some countries are supporting universities or those companies who is developing new technology, maybe to give them some benefits in that respect, that they are investing in the new technology as a product which will be utilized by operators?
Yeah, I guess that's also a really good question, and probably something we should also kind of try to focus more on going forward. But I guess I can say for Norway's part, also we have this Norwegian a research council, or the Norges Forskningsråd, and they have kind of also they give support to new technology, new solutions, and you have to apply. And I think normally they are covering kind of half of the R&D projects costs, and then operators and service companies have to go together and take the other part. So there are some kind of safety margin there. But in HAVTIL, we are looking into some of these projects because we are interested in seeing how they are kind of moving forward, and whether there are some kind of collaboration across across the North Sea between Norway, UK, also Denmark, Netherlands, etc.
So about that, as follow up to this question, and Nina, a few months ago we had an interesting webinar between Lewis Harper, Francis Norman, and Alan Fogwell. Maybe we could have a repeat of such a webinar, this time also inviting representatives from Norway to talk about collaborative efforts to developing new techniques, new technology, new solutions for P&A. So maybe we can discuss that further. But I think it would be, you mentioned Lewis Harper, Francis and Coda just had a webinar, I think it was yesterday, about the technology qualification steps to with the support of a third-party company. So yeah, maybe we discuss that a little bit further. Abdulaziz Bazaid asked if you were potentially going to share the slides. So for you to decide if you want to do that, we can upload them or not, but you let us know.
Yes, that should be fine, actually.
Yeah, we have more questions regarding to the mentioned, Nina, creeping formation. Yeah, do we have anything which we can appoint, or the people can go to get more information about this?
The creeping shale, yes. We will do some. So we will most likely publish a report and some slides in end of September, start of October, and then we will share this on our webpage, havtil.no.
And to Edwin, a short answer is, yeah, it's complicated. So the time frame, it depends on the geology setting, the in situ stresses, etc. So it's a good question, not an easy answer.
Yeah, I think so.
Question by Alex. Let's take this one.
So Alex is very much looking forward to the report from HAVTIL on the experience of using shale as a barrier on NCS over the past 15 years. This is a valuable experience to share with the wider industry globally, since there are still many regions, also included his region, that are not yet utilizing this valuable technique. Will the report publish by any data that may be utilized by other operators in other regions? And perhaps we can consider as an industry being more collaborative internationally on this subject. How you see this subject is going, let's say, wider in the industry?
I think that was the intention for why we initiated this knowledge gathering or knowledge sharing with respect to creeping shale, since some operators on the Norwegian continental shelf have they have used shale for the last 15 years. So we hope this report will give some guidance also with respect to what Norwegian operators kind of value with respect to also which parameters need to be in place and what you need to look for when you're looking for some creeping formation or creeping shale, and also some acceptance criteria. So, but collaboration also going forward with respect to P&A globally, yes, we believe that is very important.
There is another one from Alex asking, Nina, can you say anything of HAVTIL involvement in the TQ qualification framework developed by NZTC and ASTMAR?
Astrimar, that was the webinar yesterday with Coda.
And if HAVTIL now recognize this framework as a way of achieving technology qualification for the NCS?
Yeah, as I wasn't able to attend the webinar yesterday, I had planned to do so, but I kind of missed it. But we are in kind of dialogue with Astrimar and Net Zero Technology Center, so we've been aware about what's coming. But I think we have kind of agreed that we want to look carefully through this new technology as a framework before we kind of reference it in our facility regulation section 9. So we still reference the DNV RP. And we have kind of expectations that each company have their own TRL process, and that could be the API 17N, or it could be the NASA one. But the most important thing is that they document each step of their qualification process. And again, we believe it's important to pilot test the offshore in the same environment as the technology is planned to be used. So we don't think it's sufficient to test in the laboratory or onshore if you're going to use the technology offshore. And so far, we also said that there need to be some kind of plans for some long-term testing if you're using the technology for permanent plugging and abandonment, because permanent plugging and abandonment is for eternity. So that's where we are at the moment. But yes, we will look carefully through this new framework from Astrimar now, since it's now been kind of published or released.
I'll show very quickly a contribution from Sergey on a paper for creeping shale sealing performance, but it's not really a question. So maybe shifting gear. So you've mentioned the number of years, the number of wells, and the workload ahead of the Norwegian industry and the Norwegian regulatory body with the P&A work, 2,000 wells, 50 years, the issue, finding a new generation to tackle this. How is this seen in Norway from a society standpoint? How is just the general feeling about from the public?
Also, when you're talking about plugging of wells, yeah. I think it's a very difficult question to answer, but I think because I think knowledge is probably limited among the public. As normally, when I hear that politicians are talking about oil and gas and wells, they're saying we just need to shut them down and the problem is fixed. It's not. And within the oil and gas community, we all know that there are obligations to plug and abandon these wells, and that means that the industry will go on. We will have a high activity level in at least 50 to 70 more years. So I think the kind of public discussion is it's on a different level, and probably there is a need for more knowledge out there.
And the one piece, the component you haven't really mentioned much in your analysis is the supply chain, because in the UK, for instance, this is a topic of great concern because the general public is paying for a big chunk of the P&A, so they want to get the best service and the best cost for the job. But if you leave it completely to the private sector, you might end up with a smaller margins, just very few rigs capable of delivering the P&A, and then so the few actors that would be present on that market can charge whatever they want. So I think for the UK at the moment, it is a topic of concern. How is it viewed in Norway at the moment, the supply chain part?
I think that's a really interesting question. I think we have a lot to learn from UK, actually. I have to be so honest, because I've been to UK a couple of times on the SPE Wells Decommissioning Conference, and I see that they have a different focus than what we have here in Norway. I think we are more like short-term. We have a short-term view. And at the moment, we have a high level of kind of activity with respect to exploration, drilling. Also, we have a lot of slot recoveries, etc. So we have rigs, but as long as Norway can drill new wells and get more kind of production or gas to export, I think that's the focus. And going forward, maybe 5 to 10 years, the situation might be different. But I think that for supply chain, yes, there should have been. Also, there need to be some more focus in the years to come. And yes, UK is probably ahead of us because they have kind of a different well population. Also, it's more kind of brownfield. But recently, one of the operators here in Norway, also the largest one, they announced this spring that they have dedicated one rig for P&A of subsea wells. So I think that's really a step forward. So that's all I can say there. But again, I think operators are aware of the 2,200 wells plus minus every year. That will have to be permanent plug and abandon. And yes, we have to prepare ourselves, and we have to learn from the UK. We have to learn from other regions, perhaps also from Brazil. I think they are also moving forward at the moment. Yeah.
Jovan, any questions from you? I think we've not had any more questions from online.
No more questions online. Just recap on and add on this last question. We are also engaged with a lot of young professional engineers, and since the, let's say, traditional oil and gas are now also moving on CCUS and geothermal and storage CO2. So we saw that a little bit we are increasing with the interest in the industry, since we saw the not sharp decline, but the people with traditional oil and gas move to the set of let's say energy industry, which are driving now. We have seen the more and more interest in this. How, Nina, you see that, as you mentioned, that we need at least 50 years to support our industry to plug and abandon those wells and put them in safety. How you see the let's say the population, young population, are willing to join energy industry?
I think also there's a great opportunity there, and perhaps a mixture of different kind of activities. Like, also you can work on CCS, CO2 injection wells. Then you will need some of the same knowledge, as you need to design a well, drill a well, and sooner or later you'll have to plug it. You could work with plugging and abandonment. In UK, I hear that plugging and abandonment is viewed as kind of a part of the green transition. We are actually kind of securing the wells from leaks or emissions to sea and air. And I think also as a geothermal, also there is part of the same basic knowledge with respect to geothermal wells as well. So I think there are enormous opportunity for the young professionals, and I think plugging and abandonment of old oil wells will kind of give them a good kind of starting point with respect to CCS, as it could be, as in a combination with offshore windmills and geothermal on land as well. So there are enormous opportunities, and I think it's all part of the green transition.
Thank you, Nina. PE, back to you.
Then very good. If we have no more questions, then fantastic. We want to wrap it up at this stage. So with that, we would like to thank you all attending the call today for being with us and your active participation in the Q&A. Please follow us on the official SP Connect and LinkedIn pages for our technical sections, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
You know, people ask me why they should join SPE, and what I tell them is that SPE is absolutely essential. Frankly, if SPE didn't exist, somebody would have to go out and create it. When you graduate with a technical degree, a petroleum engineering degree, or other engineering degree, you get a lot of really good knowledge that gets you started on your career, and you learn a lot on the job. But the jobs that we have in this industry, they're really quite difficult. And you've got to have other resources, either to solve specific problems you might be having at the moment, or to better understand how to solve, daily issues that you work on. SPE provides opportunities to learn about new things that people are working on. There are great articles in JPT Magazine and the other magazines that we have that are really useful. If you're not reading JPT every month, I tell you it's essential to do that to keep up with the technology. We have excellent conferences where you can learn from people who have solved very difficult problems in our industry. And doing that is just incredibly important and incredibly useful. To me, I don't see how you can be an engineer working in the petroleum industry and not find value in the resources and the opportunities that SPE provides. It's an opportunity to meet people who can help you in the industry, and it's an opportunity to get the knowledge you need to be successful.